Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we have a bunch of new Kansept knives. Now, this one I've had for a little while. This is the Kansept PRETATOUT, but we recently got a new version in, which is a more budget-friendly version. Now, this one is in 154 cm blade steel, and it does come in a few different options. This one is the black micarta. You could call it gray micarta, but over time it will get darker and darker. It does have a titanium milled pocket clip, steel liner lock, and you can reverse flick it off the fuller, use the thumb studs, or you can use the flipper. So lots of deployment options. Now, I can't remember if I have a full review on this, but it's been in many videos. So if you do want to see more on the premium one, I've got it in many videos, including an entire first impressions on it. But it has a Damascus clip, full titanium frame lock. They do have another version of this that's full titanium without the clip, and they also have TANTO versions of both of these. So if you like this and maybe you want a TANTO, they do have the TANTO versions, and then they have the drop point versions. Lots of different versions of the PRETATOUT, and I like it. I do like it. This premium version, I've had it for a little while now, and it's just gotten so glassy smooth. I've used it quite a bit, to be honest. Yeah, I do like it quite a bit. Now, their Damascus is a 9CR 440C mix. It's a powdered Damascus, and it is pretty good quality. I do like it quite a bit. Now, this one being 154 cm, more of a mid-grade steel, but still great steel. The liner lock version seems to have a little bit stiffer of a detent, and, that's good or bad, just depending on you. I think most people would prefer a little bit of a stiffer detent, so I guess it's a good thing. But it's still easy to reverse flick, and I can even reverse flick the thumb studs. Super comfortable in the hand. You do get a lot of leverage because the clip is a titanium milled pocket clip, and you have this chamfer down here. It's really easy to squeeze it comfortably and get a lot of leverage into your cuts. Access to the liner is really good, and the detent is right there. That's where it hits the detent. So when you unlock it, right there is where it hits it. So it's easy to get past it without fumbling around on it, and it is very drop shutty. Let's get to the next one. So the next one is, excuse me, is a one that they do have a premium version of. I do not have the premium version of this, and the REVERIE, the Kansept REVERIE. I always wanted to try the premium version. I haven't tried it, but it looks really nice. And one thing I really like about this one is that it has this type of top flipper. So this type of flipper makes it to where you can thumb it like a regular front flipper, or you can use it like a flipper tab, which I really like. It makes it super fidgety. Now, it's a little too small to do the roll, where you roll your finger over, but I honestly prefer these kind of flipper tabs over all the rest of, at least over most. Now, there's a couple other ones that I really enjoy that also give you the same benefits. Now, this one has a deep carry, not inset clip, and G10 scales with a steel liner lock. The liner's pretty easy to get to. It's not bad. And the detent is nice and early when you unlock it, so it's easy to get past. Very smooth on the drop. Not quite fall shut, but it's definitely drop shutty. 154 cm steel again. So we have a mid-grade steel, and this one is the black stone washed, which is a pretty nice black washed blade because it's coated, so it's going to help with corrosion and things like that, but it's also stone washed, so it's not going to show the wear and tear as bad as if it didn't have the stone washing over it. I really like the ergos on this. It's super comfortable in the hand, and it leans forward a little bit. So when I have it in hand, you can see the blade is somewhat leaned forward, so that's going to help trap materials, whether I'm cutting a strap or push cutting. Very nice one. I do like this quite a bit, and it makes me want to possibly get the premium version now. Next we have the Bulldog. So they do have a premium version of this coming. I'm trying to get it. I really want to get the premium version in. This is the budget version. D2 steel. I really like the geometry on this. It's not that it's a super thin blade stock, but it gets down nice and thin behind the edge, 100% full flat grind, nice and slicey, and the ergos are very neutral. And it does give you the ability to get right up tight to the edge, and you're not in no risk of slipping up because of this area right here. You can really choke up right there for maximum leverage. But it's super comfortable in the hand. These ergos just make it so perfect for slicing, cutting, even with utility cuts. And the blade shape, being a sheep's foot blade shape, it is set up for utility cuts. The front flipping action, not a big fan of this jimping, but the front flipper is tall enough to where you're going to get a lot of leverage pushing into it. It is a front flipper only. However, I do kind of wish they would have put a hole right here, but they didn't. However, I can reverse flick it off of the bottom. It has kind of a stout detent for a front flipper, but I'm still able to do it because they have the stone washing on the blade. I don't know if everybody's going to be able to do that, but I find it relatively easy. The front flipping action is really good. I can do all the tricks with it. However, like I said, the detent, it's still breaking in. But the jimping, I prefer the grippier jimping, kind of like what's on here on the Reverie. But this still works great, so there's no issues. It still works great. Access to the liner, really, really good. So, and the detent is... it's not relatively early, but there's no flipper tab. So it's easy to get past. And it's super smooth on the drop. Pretty much fall shut action. It's not a guillotine, but it probably will be soon. It comes in a lot of different options as well, including a micarta option. Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic user. My one complaint, and I don't like to complain on first impressions, but my one complaint is that the clip is pretty large for the knife. It's very proud, or very tall, I should say, right here. So it gives you a lot of room to slip, your pants underneath it. I'm just not sure if it needs to be that big. Now, it's not that uncomfortable in the hand, but I do feel it. But, we'll see how it works. It might not even be a big deal, but, it'd be nice if it was just a little bit smaller. Something a little bit more compact. Maybe inset. That would have been really good with flat screws. Then it wouldn't have to be so proud. And that really... it makes a knife feel a little bit more premium when the clip is inset with flat screws. It's not reversible though, and it doesn't sit inset with flat screws. It has button screws, and it sits on top of the G10. There is a lot of milling on the inside, lots of milling. So the weight on this is nice and light. It does have a little bit of a forward weight to it. Kind of. That's the balancing point. But it feels very balanced in the hand. So this is going to be a great work knife. A great knife for just slicing, whether you like to do food prep or just regular EDC use. It's going to be a fantastic user. You can slow roll it if you really want to. If you're not great at front flipping, it is pretty easy to slow roll. And you can always do the pinch and roll, because there's a lot of blade hanging out. You could always get a quick stud to put right on top of the spine, by the way. I should have said that. I would imagine it would fit this. I think they're 130 thousandths and below. Maybe it's 120 thousand. If you don't know what a quick stud is, it comes in a couple different colors, and it's just a thumb stud you can just put on any spine as long as it fits over the spine. It fits all buck 110s, most Civivis it fits, but you just slip it right over the top, and it has that little Allen wrench, and you just turn the Allen wrench or from the side. You put it on and then turn the Allen wrench to the side, and it squeezes on, and they work great. I usually keep one around to use on knives I want a thumb stud on. Now, let's check out the next one. So we have the KORVID XL and the KORVID Micro or KORVID Mini, and you can see the size difference. But now we have a premium titanium frame lock version with this raindrop pattern. So what it is there's these little dots on here that are anodized, and because they're polished anodized, it makes it look like there's raindrops on top of it. It is S35 VN blade steel, titanium frame lock. It does have a steel lock bar insert, and I believe these are T6s. Yes, they're T6s all the way around with a T8 pivot. I should have said this too. I forgot to say this. These are all like T10 pivots. I forgot to say that. So that's really cool. Most of them, at least to my knowledge, they're larger than T8s. But the body screws are all T6s on all these. I wish they were T8s. The PRETATOUT is also T6. So, but the pivots are nice and large. But with this one, we have a flipper. Very smooth on the drop. A front flipper. I can do it too. And a reverse flicker. It's not easy to reverse flick, but you can get it down. You can get it down, and I've got it. It's only a 1.5 finger knife. No clip. It's more of a pinch grip, but it's cool. It's definitely tiny, but you could throw it in a fifth pocket. Kara loves to carry it. She calls it the boop. So, and she made sure to tell me I had to say that in this video. She actually wanted me to open up and say boop. But you can see that it's still functional. And I mean that in like a use way because of this blade shape. It's, being so tiny and having this blade shape makes it kind of like a little razor blade. You can easily open things up, without having a large knife. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a work knife or anything like that, but it's cool. And the titanium's done very well. They have a chamfer around the edge. It does have the jimping for the front flipper, and it works, even though it's not the kind of jimping I like, but because of how small it is, it actually works pretty good, considering. Access to the lock bar is really good, so it's easy to disengage. It is very smooth on the drop, even though it's so tiny and light. And then the budget version, they have they have G10 versions and G10 and micarta versions. This one's not as drop shutty. I can slap it shut, but the D10's a little bit stronger. But these are really tiny, and compared to the XL, they are very, very tiny. This the big one, the XL, this is a massive knife. Now, this is not your typical EDC. I tend to chop with it when I use it, but it is a liner lock flipping action. The one thing that's different is it has the thumb studs that you can also reverse flick, and it has a clip. It is extremely wide, though, in this, this measurement right here. So it's not going to be like a light duty EDC carry, and it's not going to be a very practical carry, but it's cool, and that's what's badass about it. It's a cool knife. It does slice really good, though. Look at this geometry, if I can get it on the screen. The geometry is really, really good. It cuts extremely well. Very slicey, having this big, broad flat grind, and with all this leverage, squeezing it. It's so broad in the hand, it's like you can't get this out of my hand. It's locked in, but it also makes to where I have a lot of leverage into a cut. It is almost a little too broad in the hand, but it works, and I have used it. I have sharpened it, but it is more of a novelty knife while still being functional. It is a beast. for sure. Now this one is in 154 cm, yep, as well. And so is the little tiny guy, but the premium one is an S35VN. So just a quick look at these guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.